to Catskills Teaching Kitchen here at Cornell Cooperative Extension. I have with me again Barb Schmidt, and today we're going to be making pizza using the sauce that we talked about in our last video that she had created herself, and it's delicious. So get ready, we're going to have some real fun here. And Barbara, thank you for coming.
Sure, thank you so much for having me. I'm having such a blast in the kitchen. And that being said, I will remind you of the game from our last episode, which is you want to be hydrated, so get yourself a nice glass of water. And if I mention any of my chef heroes like Julia Child, Anthony Bourdain, Alton Brown, or Andrew Zimmern, help yourself to a nice glass of water.
Great, thank you.
So you just were talking about the sauce. So
Yes.
Let's talk about that sauce.
Okay.
I read a lot of cooking information, and it's like so much easier now that we have the internet. You know, in one corner of my kitchen, I have an entire corner rack that's like 4 or 5 tiers of cookbooks.
Yes.
And I had certain recipes in each cookbook, and then every time I needed to make something, I would
You just pull it out.
and make it.
Yeah.
So now that we have the internet, you can find out these other things. And I found out in Maryland, there's a certain kind of pizzeria called the Lido, L-E-D-O, Lido Pizzeria. And in Maryland, there's this unique sauce that's really addictive. So I did all kinds of internet research to find out how to make a copycat version of that sauce. And you'd have different former employees talking about it. They're like, okay, well, I can tell you how to make it, but you have to make like a big vat for like 100 pies. So it became a situation of curating until I found this phenomenal sauce.
Great.
So the thing about the sauce is it starts with 2 teaspoons of olive oil.
Okay.
Into the olive oil, you're gonna put, let's say, like a tablespoon, like a big dollop of tomato paste, and you're gonna do some garlic. So, talking about tomato paste. So tomato paste comes in these like 6-ounce
little cans.
jars. And so let's say you're making something that just takes 2 things of tomato paste.
Right.
What are you supposed to do with the rest of it? I don't want to leave something in an open can in my refrigerator, because that's like a whole metallic situation.
Yeah, food safety issue.
Food safety issue. And then sometimes I would do it, and then I would rack my brain like, okay, if I make this with, I'm going to only use 2 tablespoons of paste, and then I have to make something else within a few days.
Right.
And I know that now they sell tubes of it.
Sure.
But, that might be cost prohibitive, and that's not real cheap in the can sales. So I will tell you my tip. Every time I open a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, I'll take a piece of saran wrap, and then I'll scoop out big mounds, and I'll make, like, out of a can, I might make, let's say 5 or 6 mounds, and then I take that and I put it in the freezer so it freezes. Yeah, like I know some people talk about, put it in the ice cube tray.
Yes, I was
This
just
is
going
like
to say that.
no muss, no fuss. I have it on there, and then once the mound freezes, then I can put it in another plastic container in my freezer.
Tip.
And so when I made this, all I had to do is take one of my lumps of paste out, leave it on the counter in a little bowl so it thawed a bit, and then I started grating up my garlic. So normally I'll chop garlic,
Right.
and you want to really chop it. What I found in this sauce called for pressed garlic, and that reminded me of something that Anthony Bourdain once said, like, don't use store-bought chopped up garlic. He had a comment. He said, if that's what you're going to do, you don't deserve garlic. So what I'm going to say with this is, you will really enjoy your garlic so much more if you really press it.
Okay.
Because somehow, when you have the olive oil in the bottom of the saucepan with the tomato paste, with 3 or 4 cloves,
Of the garlic.
so it says here 2 or 3. I think I used a real healthy 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and I minced it first. So that's like what you're seeing out here now is our mise en place phase, where I got my garlic ready and I got my sauce, I got my tomato paste ready, and I put it in the saucepan and I chased it around in there so it browned nicely.
Sure.
And then after that, I took a 28-ounce can of tomatoes. Now, in the Lido recipe, it says San Marzano style tomatoes. You know, it depends on what kind of a budget you have.
Sure.
If you can buy San Marzano tomatoes, sure, by all means, use them. But if we listen to my good friend Alton Brown, he once had an episode where he looked at the jar and he taught you how to recognize if it's certified San Marzano. Because I know I went to the nursery a year or 2 ago and I bought a couple of San Marzano plants and they were so delicious.
Oh yeah, nothing better.
More delicious than a plum tomato. But are they San Marzano tomatoes? Well, no, because they were growing in Mountaindale dirt. They weren't growing in Italian dirt.
Right.
So if you're going to pay money for San Marzano style tomatoes, make sure it has the certification on it. Otherwise, I'll be honest, this is one 28-ounce can of Red Pack, and it was so good. So going over...
And a lot cheaper.
And a lot cheaper, because
Yes.
again, can sale, they're like under $1.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, I found that this cooked up really fast. Like the original recipe talks about, you know, using the stick blender and simmering it for an hour. The recipe that we're going to post, it's just, you've got the olive oil, you've got the San Marzano style tomatoes, a couple of ounces of tomato paste, 2 to 3 to 4 cloves of garlic to your taste. And here's the weird piece. It's got 3 tablespoons of sugar. Now,
Do you know why?
it sweetens it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when my kids were little, the big treat that once or twice a month, I would make this huge pot of spaghetti and meat sauce. And I would always go to my sugar bowl and I would do like that much sugar to offset the acid of the tomato.
Yes.
This recipe has 3 tablespoons of sugar, but it doesn't make it sweet and weird. It just makes it delicious. And then I'll tell you the rest of the herbs that go with the tomato product and the garlic and the sugar. We've got some minced onion, and it's fine to use dehydrated onion, some basil, some oregano, some thyme, and then a little bit of salt. And that just simmers in the pot on a real slow simmer for like, what, 20, 30 minutes. Once you can drag your spoon through and you can see that it's leaving, you know, a trail, that means it's thick enough that if you put it on your pizza, it's not going to be
great.
watery.
Okay.
So in case you're wondering about quantity, this is what I got from one 28-ounce jar
Wow.
of tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use this for one of our pizzas today. If you're having a big pizza party at your house and you double the dough recipe that we're going to talk about, you can use this for several pizzas, and all the leftovers will make the most delicious either chicken parm or eggplant
Oh, I'm
parm
definitely getting
for the rest
hungry.
of the week.
Okay.
So
If you could smell it.
yeah, I wish I could waft it to you because it's just so
Yes.
good.
And such a simple recipe.
Simple.
Very
Simple.
simple. That's
All
what
right.
we like. Simple,
Exactly. So put
easy,
this here. Now,
cost effective.
here is the dough that I made at home this morning, and this also is
nice.
modeled after the Lido dough.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. It doesn't have to be bread flour, all-purpose flour, a half a cup of water,
Mhm.
a quarter cup of canola oil, vegetable oil, whatever, and then just 1 packet of yeast. So hopefully you watched the last episode, and so you know how to proof your yeast. You're gonna proof your yeast in the 1/2 cup of water. Let it, froth, let it do its thing, and then add it in, and everything is good.
Right. In the last episode, what we did was we took the portion of water that we needed, the 1/2 cup, and we placed it in the microwave for about 30 seconds or so, just to warm it up to finger touch, to be warm.
Right, make
To
it
get
feel
the-
like warm bath water.
Right.
That's what yeast likes to activate. Now, this recipe has slightly less water,
Okay.
so you're gonna be more careful. You don't wanna, scald your yeast, because then you'll kill it on the spot.
Oh,
So the last recipe we made, that was 3/4 cup of
Okay.
water. This one's a 1/2 cup. So just let it, a little shorter in
Yeah.
the microwave.
okay, maybe 25 seconds.
Yeah.
25
20,
seconds.
yeah, 20, 22. I have like these quirky little numbers that I use when I use the microwave. Like I'll use certain things will be 48 seconds, 38 seconds,
Sure.
22 seconds, but
Well, microwaves, I feel, are different.
right.
I had this one microwave that was very, very powerful, and I didn't need to leave it in for so long. And then this new microwave I have, you have to leave it in there for a long time.
Wow.
So, varying your microwave and
Yeah.
your times.
Okay, so here is our dough. This is the amount of dough that we have from the 2 cups of flour, and it proofed and all that. Now, this particular pizza is going to be a thin crust pizza.
Okay.
So we're gonna make 2. And so the way I set myself up, I have 1 cutting board that I'm using just for flour. So I'm keeping that clean and dry, and that's gonna be our vegetable board. This I brought from home because what I do on my pastry board at home, I have one big one, like maybe a little bit bigger than this, and
Okay.
I don't like to cut anything on it, so I just use something, really soft that's not gonna put any nicks into my board.
Right. Because with the nicks come ways that the food can get into those nicks,
Yeah.
cause cross-contamination,
Exactly.
bacteria growth, so you want to be careful of that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna set up our 2 balls of dough, and I think what we chatted about on the phone is that we were gonna make 1 round pie. That's
Yes.
gonna be a white pie, so we got you salivating for our sauce. It's gonna be a white pie with no sauce. It's just gonna be broccoli and ricotta cheese and all kinds of other fun cheeses. And then the second one is gonna be more of a, traditional vegetable pie.
Okay.
But because it's a thin crust, we wanna go really gently with the ingredients so we don't make our crust soggy.
Right.
So this is gonna be a thin crust. So I just, basically punch this down again after it has had all day to rise. I'm gonna work this one a little bit, and it's got a really nice elastic feel.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna be nice. Which one would you like us to roll out first? Would you like us to roll out
Let's do the one with the sauce.
the one with the sauce?
Yeah.
Okay. So that one's gonna be, I think we said more of a Sicilian square guy.
Yes.
So there's different ways that you can cook a pizza. You can cook it on a sheet pan. You can
Okay.
cook it like I brought this. I sometimes use this from home. I also have at home a pizza stone. When I use the pizza stone, I don't oil it. I just sprinkle a little coarse cornmeal on it.
Oh, yes.
So that's what we're gonna do. So here's my rolling pin. This is a rolling pin I've had, I'm gonna say, since I was a new bride. Now I dusted this a little bit with flour, and there's flour on my hands, and I'm making sure that there's flour in my rolling pin. And so basically you want to work the dough, roll it in different directions. And this one is going to be the rectangle one. So there are different kinds of rolling pins. Again, this is my very, very old wooden one. I know I also have a marble one, which is fun to use sometimes. I know when my daughter was in college, she wanted to make apple pies for like this whole group of them, and she didn't have a rolling pin, and so she took, she's a genius kid, she took like a tube from paper toweling, put tin foil over it, and I don't know how she did it, but she rolled out a bunch of a bunch of apple pies with that kind of a situation.
Also, I've seen folks that don't have a rolling pin, what they do is they take a glass, like a glass that you drink out of, and they roll it in flour, and they use it just like that, just like a rolling pin.
I would absolutely do that if I was stuck.
You don't have to run out and buy a rolling
Right.
pin. There's all different kinds of ways, like your daughter using a paper towel roller, and other people using a drinking glass. Wow.
Now another thing that I use, so this is like a piece of dowel. Sometimes I'll use this. So I brought this just to show people, like this is really nice to work with, especially when you're working with a smaller situation. And because I've been dabbling in Asian dumplings, this is the one that I use when I'm making like little Asian dumplings.
We might need you to come back to our cooking demos to
that would
do
be
some
pretty
Asian
fun.
dumplings.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so we have that. So I don't know if this is gonna stick or not, so I'm gonna put a little olive oil on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if you can see, I'm just giving it like kind of a little flick. So I don't want it swimming in oil, I just want to make sure that it doesn't stick. Okay, so we have this nice long thing here. How are we going to get it up? So I'm going to drape it over this. Oops.
Let's pull this to the side so we can see what you're doing. There we go.
And this is going to be our nice thin crust pizza. So we've got our Lido sauce. And you don't really want to soak it because, as I said, we don't want to make it soggy, but we do want to get this delicious flavor. Well, I am practically swooning from herby garlic deliciousness. Now, because there isn't going to be a bunch of stuff on this, I'm not even building up the well edges. The reason that you might want to build up the well edges is so that if there's like a lot of oil from a lot of cheese or pepperoni, you don't want it oozing off. So I feel this looks like, let's give it one more for good measure, so that everybody gets a nice taste. And we set up our mise en place. So we have here some mozzarella cheese. So we're going to lay out some mozzarella. I got some sauce. Need to leave enough for that other pizza. So I'm going to cheat. And we're going to put a mixture of provolone around here. Now, one of the things that makes the Lido pizza unique is that the Lido pizza is this thin crust, it's the sauce, then they put on smoked provolone. So you don't have to do smoked provolone, but we felt like we were going to give you folks an extra treat today, and we're going to put the smoked provolone on top. And this should give us a nice smoky flavor. I could do it two ways. I could do it in the air the way I was, or I could leave it here. And then give it that. Good. Now, we also have some lovely herbs. So I'm going to be ready with the herbs, and we're going to make really thin cuts on our pepper so that you get a nice taste of pepper. Oh, I was telling what the normal Lido pizza is supposed to be. So the normal Lido pizza is the Lido sauce, it's smoked provolone, and then it's also got pepperoni. So we're gonna go delicious, but a little healthier. And we're gonna do vegetables. And what a nice colorful arrangement. So, you know, a lot of times you eat with your eyes. So look how delicious this is going to be with all these different colors. And again, we're not going on too heavy, so it'll still cook quickly and be delicious. Great. And if somebody wants a little onion, that's right, you give it a little slice first. So raw onion cooks up so nicely on a pizza. I usually have raw mushrooms in my house, not canned mushrooms. So a lot of times I'll put some mushrooms down on my pizza. And we can take some of these fresh herbs, and I'm sure you've heard the expression to chiffonade them. So I'm going to bundle them a bit. And the way I'm cutting them is just I'm rocking the knife. Oh, this is such good basil. It's so aromatic. And did we want to use some of our taste of New York?
What would you like to use? Some of our sea salt. We do have ground oregano and basil, but you put fresh.
Right.
Okay. So
if you want, we can put like a little bit of we can put a little bit of oregano on it as well.
mm-hmm.
I don't think this is going to need any salt. So I think we're going to skip salt for this part.
I'm just going to sprinkle some on there.
Yeah.
I'm going to eyeball it how you want it. Okay,
Good.
that looks beautiful. Wow, looks absolutely beautiful.
And so we put down cheese as the base. We put down vegetables. Now we'll put like a little sprinkle of cheese on top.
Is that cheddar cheese we're
This
using?
one is the cheddar. Was this
Okay.
an extra sharp that we have?
Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Love extra sharp. I'm also a big fan of seriously sharp. That's pretty ruby also. Okay, so number one pizza is ready to go.
Okay, I just want to show
Sure.
everyone how beautiful this looks. Check that out. So colorful. It's just so colorful. Okay, and you can use any kind of vegetable you want on it.
Sure.
I just chose to use peppers and the different varieties of cheese, and that's another option for you. But okay, so we're going to put this over to the side.
Just to the side
Okay.
for now, because we have our second pizza. Now,
Okay.
for the second pizza, we decided we'd make a white pie. So we have our broccoli. Oh, you know what? I just realized I fibbed before when I was thinking that we weren't going to need to use our cooktop. I just remembered we're going to be steaming some broccoli.
Okay, so we need, do we need a pot?
A small pot.
Okay, a small pot, just the steam. Okay. Let's see, I have a pot here. Let's see if this is a lid. Yes, it is. Okay, so just a little bit of water in here.
A little bit of water.
Okay. Alrighty.
So I'm making these small bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
And because it's going to be in the oven, we don't want to cook it for very long. So normally, if I'm cooking at home, if I'm making broccoli that's either going to go into a stir fry or something like that, I usually set my timer for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
But I think for this, maybe we'll give it a shorter cook time. You know, I think I was going to bring a steamer. Did I? I think I did bring
That's
a steamer.
okay.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to blanch it. So we're going to just throw it in hot boiling water. And then we're going to proper blanching, we'd put it in ice water.
Mm-hmm.
And putting it in ice water stops the cooking process. And where are you going to put it? So
Okay, so we're gonna have to move this off.
got it, okay.
Okay, we're just gonna pull this to the side, and we're gonna start. We're gonna get our oven going here.
Good, I want everything far
Okay.
away so we don't have a
And we
fire
have,
hazard.
yes, and we have our pot now going on here, and we're going to heat it up a bit. Okay, there's only a little bit of water in there.
Good.
So it should heat up fairly quickly.
Right.
And once that's done, we'll add the broccoli.
Right. So let it get a real quick, just like a couple minutes in the boiling water.
Yes.
We'll dump it out into the colander, and then we'll kind of let it dry so it doesn't put too much water on top of the pizza.
Yeah, you just take like a damp paper towel if you have and just dry it there. Okay.
So while that piece is happening, I'll put a little olive oil on a round one.
Okay. Sounds good.
And that way we can start rolling out our...
Okay, Barb, the water is boiling.
Good, okay.
It goes very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw these in here.
Great.
Okay. And it'll come out with a nice, beautiful green color. We want to keep all the nutrients in there.
Right.
Okay.
So everybody probably cooks with a phone nearby. Did you know that your phone has a little timer in it?
Yes.
So does that have a timer? Or?
This does not have a timer.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I was just reducing the heat going to it.
All right, so let's say if we want to give this just 2 minutes.
Okay. Perfect.
So I'm going to use this to
Okay.
time it for 2 minutes, and that way sometimes I get really engrossed in stuff and be like, oh,
Yes.
okay, I'm back.
Yeah. Because
So-
we don't want it too mushy either.
Right, yeah.
Because it's going to go in the oven to cook. Now, should we be preheating our oven?
I think we can.
Okay.
So we have to,
We can do this, and I can preheat this to 350,
This
375.
is gonna be hot, so
Okay.
why don't we give it 4 1/4,
Okay.
and it should be done in like 12-ish minutes.
Okay.
So much of cooking is also about smelling, so I can smell the broccoli already.
Okay.
So let's make sure that we're not killing it.
Yes.
We don't want hammered broccoli.
No, we don't. Oh, fork tender.
Yeah. I feel like these guys are pretty good.
Okay, let's shut it off. We
Yeah.
don't want to ruin them.
Yeah.
And look at the color. The color is amazing. Oh, it smells delicious too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our oven preheating to 425. Okay.
Good, so I'm gonna drain this.
Okay. And then we're going to I'm just gonna take a paper towel, and we're going to just lay it over top of the broccoli.
Normally I wouldn't rinse it, but I didn't
Right.
prepare.
We didn't prepare our ice bath.
I didn't prepare an ice bath, so this
So.
is as close as I get.
Yes. Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So now all I did was just put a paper towel over the broccoli, just to kind of dry it up. Like Barb said, you don't want the broccoli to really sog your pizza dough. So
And see, that's
there's our timer.
there's a timer, but again, you use your judgment, and in
For
the
sure.
kitchen, a lot of times when you smell stuff,
It's done.
you know it's done.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that I'll be making like some kind of cake, and I'll start to smell chocolate, and I'll be like, okay, and sure enough,
Mhm.
yeah, my timer goes off like within a minute of me smelling it.
I mean, even the ovens, same thing with the microwaves. Some ovens cook faster than others, depending on how old it is. Like mine is from ancient one, so as my mother would say, ancient one.
There you go.
So it takes a lot longer for me to bake or cook
Yeah.
something in the oven.
And the other piece is, you know, different ovens have different hot spots.
Yes.
And so sometimes, you know, people get real technical with their recipes and they'll like, you know, cook this in the bottom third, cook it into this, into
Yeah.
this. So that's why, yes, you know, do your best to try to follow what they're telling you, but on the other half, you know, in most cases, your nose is really gonna know.
Is gonna tell you. So you brought your little pizza pan here.
This is a pizza pan, so I'll do
Okay.
this sometimes if I'm making like a deep dish pie.
Oh, nice.
Also, we talked before about the pizza stone, so I'll do a pizza stone and I'll sprinkle a little cornmeal on it. I also, the last time I made this pizza, so I made the 2 batches, I used this for one and I used my skillet for the other.
Oh, nice.
And I put a little olive oil in the skillet and I just, you know, the skillet goes right into the oven and so away we go. So I'm checking it by eye and it looks like it'll fit in there nicely.
Just perfectly, right?
Now is this guy going to still be a little hot, or I'm just going to put it over there?
Nope, it's
It
right
cools
to the
right
bone.
off?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to do the same trick.
Mhm.
I'm going to roll it over this
Okay.
and I'm going to set it in there. And
Here, I'll help. You keep
Yeah.
hearing the beeping because
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
induction stove. So
it
every
wants to do something?
yeah, it wants to turn on. But we
Don't
don't
turn
want
on.
it. No.
Good. So as I'm stretching it, it's making like, I got a couple little beansy holes.
Yes.
And so I'm just mending them.
Mm-hmm. Let's put them back together.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
it's fitting in there just beautifully.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna do what we did with the last group.
We're gonna use our mozzarella cheese and our provolone. And where do we put our sauce? Do we put our sauce here? Oh, this is the white pizza.
NG on sauce, this
Oh.
will be white pie.
See, I'm just so excited
No, no,
about the
no.
sauce that I just can't get it out of my head. So yeah, this is the white pizza.
So for the rectangular pizza, I just put the mozzarella squares out. But
Okay.
with this one, I felt like I'll get better coverage if I make triangles. So here we have like a little bit of a geometry lesson in our cooking. Good. And then
Very
put
nice.
some provolone.
So this one we're using a ricotta cheese.
Correct.
Okay.
So, oh look how this fits so perfectly.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Okay, so
Voila.
here's our base.
Yep. Okay.
Now in my mise en place, I've got everything all ready. And so I'm just gonna take this little tub of ricotta cheese. I'm gonna just do some blobs. I know a lot of times if you're making like a calzone or something like that, then you have to be, careful about it binding, and you might, blend in an egg. But I found with this, it just worked really nicely, just like this.
Great. So we use about half of the container. It's a 15-ounce container, like 7 to 8 ounces
So,
of ricotta cheese.
now ricotta is like a little bit sweet,
Yes.
so I'm gonna say for this, if we wanna use a little bit of our, this isn't the New York.
No, this is just regular. We have
Okay.
a regular whole oregano spice.
Good.
So
This will give it a little hit.
okay. How's that?
It's gorgeous.
Okay.
Good. And now when we find our drying, I lost track of our broth. Oh, of course, that's right. There we go.
So this is all dried up. Here we go. Oh boy.
Good.
Now we don't have to spread the ricotta cheese around. We're just leaving
No,
it
I
as
just
a
like it in
dollop.
blobs, yeah.
Okay, like this.
Good. And if you wanna get in on this action.
Okay, yes, we'll do that. Oh boy, we're gonna have some good food here. Oops, sorry.
That's
Okay.
This is why we wanted to make them nice and small, so they're
Yes.
yummy, bite-sized
Mhm.
pieces.
And they, all cook the same. 'Cause if
Yes.
you have something bigger, it's gonna take longer to cook. Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Okay.
And
Yeah, this. So pizza.
I'm gonna give it a little bit
Ooh,
cheddar on
we're gonna
top.
add some cheddar.
because
Okay.
cheddar and broccoli are like
Yes.
best friends.
For sure. Okay. Shred some. Oh wow. Another colorful dish.
Go again back to the we're eating with our eyes.
Yes.
And if there are children and they think they don't like broccoli, maybe they've only had hammered broccoli.
Right.
And this is still going to have some brightness and some crispness.
I mean, this is a easy enough recipe to work with your parents, your grandparents in the kitchen and have the kids, lay out the cheeses and the broccoli.
Sure.
And help them make it. So
Now,
fairly
because
easy.
it's getting to be grill season,
yes.
a thing that we used to love to do is give everybody their own little portion of dough, and they would make their own pizza,
Oh, great.
which we would put on the grill.
Wow.
So you want to, olive oil them a little bit.
Yeah, the bottom. Yeah.
You want to olive oil the bottom,
Okay.
and then you grill it on one side, flip it, and then the kids put their own topping, and they recognize their pizza.
Awesome.
Now, what's going to really make this lovely
Oh,
is we'll give it a little
little Parmesan.
sprinkle of parm.
Wow.
And you know what? I think we'll show some love to the other one, and the other one will get a little sprinkle
Okay.
of parm. So I like this parm that you picked because I can actually see the strands. Like originally, I brought this so I was going to
Mhm.
grate some, but this is good. The stuff that's like, powder, it looks like powdered
Yes.
milk.
Mm-hmm.
It probably goes into the Anthony Bourdain that if that's the kind of parm that you're eating, maybe you just don't deserve parm. This parm, I don't want to be a parm snob, but this parm is good.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and at home, I'll buy like a little wedge of either parm or Asiago,
Right.
and then I just use this and I
Shred it
grate it on, and it lasts me for so long. So even if you're on a budget, you can kind of splurge and make it a little bit more wonderful.
Nice. Okay. So she's just adding a little bit more parm to our red pizza.
Yep.
And then we're gonna get those in the oven.
Right, so it'll be
And cook them.
425,
425 for about how long?
about 12 to 15
Okay.
minutes. So we're gonna
Alright.
see, because I don't really know your oven.
Okay.
I'm hoping, all right, I just heard a sound, so.
That was just the
Oh,
stove.
because I was wiping the stove.
It's okay. So let's get that in the oven.
Let's do that. Okay, so we just opened the oven. It was at 425. It was somewhere between, let's say, 14 and 15 minutes in there. And so we have our onion pepper pie with some of the smoked Gouda. And then here's our beautiful white pizza with our broccoli and ricotta cheese. So we're going to invite some people outside the kitchen and invite them in for a little pizza party that we're gonna have. So thank you so much for watching us.
Thank you, Barb, for so much for teaching our viewers how to make thin crust pizza using your sauce, and for the other video that we did for the challah bread. Thank you so much.
Great, my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for
You're
inviting
welcome.
me. All right,
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.